Today, we are all sitting in a virtual classroom, but we all have sat in a real classroom, lived on a college campus, and some of us have even worked in businesses. Now, think about what all these places have in common. They are all susceptible to mass shootings. In the United States today, the problem of mass shootings is very extreme. Far too many occur when they can be prevented. This problem is not specific to a certain demographic because it can happen to just about anyone. For the last week and a half, I've researched this issue, and today I will be sharing my findings with you. We will discuss the problem, look at the ongoing causes, and finally analyze the solutions that might be able to save lives in the future. Think about your three closest friends. What do you guys like to do on the weekend? Maybe go to the mall, go to the store, go to the movie theater, whatever it may be. But more importantly, these are all places where mass shootings have occurred. In an article written by Jonathan Masters titled U.S. Gun Policy Global Comparisons, published on counciloonforeignaffairs.org on August 6, 2019, it states the United States, with less than 5% of the world's population, has about 46% of the world's civilian-owned guns. This means that if we all were represented the countries of the world and various gun owners in those countries, that approximately 12 out of the 24 people in the class would be from the United States. In another article published by Mark DeShalznier titled By the Numbers, America's Gun Problem, published on May 11, 2018 on DeShalznier.house.gov, it states that mass shootings are senseless acts of gun violence that are tearing apart families and communities. This describes the problem perfectly and explains why we need to remember the victims of these occurrences and make changes. In another article published by Jason Silverstein on CBS News on January 2nd, 2020, titled There Were More Mass Shootings Than Days in 2019, it states that by the end of 2019, there had been 417 mass shootings. That is equivalent to about 25% of Wartburg's enrollment. In the end, also in the article, it states, in the end, 2019 had the highest number of mass shootings since 2014. 2014 was 6 years ago, and that was when I was in 8th grade. Now that we've looked at the problem, let's look at the ongoing causes of the deadly issue. This issue is very serious and has taken lives for years. But one of the most vocal opposing parties of gun control in the United States is the National Rifle Association, known as the NRA. In an article published by BBC News on August 5th, 2019, titled America's Gun Culture in Charts, it states the NRA campaigns against all forms of gun control in the U.S. and argues more guns makes the country safer. However, as this chart shows, the NRA actually just plays a hand in Washington. As you can see, in the years where the shootings were more deadly, the NRA spent more money lobbying than any other year. As you can see, 2017 was one of their highest years. This just shows the power that the organization has in Washington. The other major influence that causes many mass shootings is the fact that the assault weapons ban was lifted in 2004. These weapons of war are known for their high-capacity magazines and increased deaths in mass shootings. This shows that when assault rifles are used, there's a higher death rate and injury rate in mass shootings. In an article written by Jacqueline Childkraut, published on March 22nd, 2019, titled Assault Weapons, Mass Shootings, and Options for Lawmakers, published on Rockefeller Institute of Government, it states the most lethal shooting, the 2016 attack in Orlando, Florida, which claimed the lives of 49 people and left 53 others injured, was committed with an assault-style weapon. Now that we have looked at the causes, let's look at some of the solutions that might be able to save the lives of future generations. I know we are not lawmakers, but we do have the opportunity to voice our opinions to the lawmakers and press for change. And we also need to change our view as a society on this issue. A good example of this are the students from Stoneman Douglas High School who spoke up after their school experienced a shooting that killed 17 students, and they voiced their opinion by marching on Capitol Hill. In an article titled March for Our Lives Highlights, published on the New York Times on March 24th, 2018, one of the leaders of the protests in Washington, D.C., as pictured above, stated, "To the leaders, skeptics, and cynics who told us to sit down and stay silent, wait your turn, and welcome to the revolution." This shows that they were determined and they were willing to voice their opinion without listening to those who oppose them and who push them away. I encourage you all to write to your local lawmakers and discuss the issue with them. The other change that needs to occur is the change of the societal narrative, and we need to make this a bipartisan issue. It is time that we compromise and we come together on this issue. Solutions are clear and realistic, but it starts with action so we can save future lives. Now that we have discussed the problem, looked at the causes, and analyzed some of the solutions, it is time to think about change. I encourage you all to stay informed and get information from credible sources on this issue. I also encourage you to write to your local lawmakers on this issue and discuss with them possible solutions that are compromises, because it takes both sides to compromise. Our generation has a chance to change legislation, and one day I hope to live in a safer America where I don't have to fear sending my kids to school and them not coming home.